Teruan Saranai Swamin Wahanse Avasarai. Welcome everyone to the session. As usual, there are no newcomers today, so we can carry on the session. Only thing is that please make sure that microphones are muted during the session. During the question and answer time, you can unmute the microphones and ask the questions. So that's all that I would like to remind. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good session. Avsarai Swamin Wahanse, I would like to invite you to begin the session. Teruan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai, everybody. So today also we are going to have a meditation session of 1 hour and discussion of 1 hour. Initially, we will go on with the discussion and then we'll proceed to the meditation. So we have already discussed about metta and also the Asubha meditation and Buddhanusati. And today also we are going to discuss about how we can see this world differently. So our vipassana would start to develop. So today we are going to introduce a new karmasthana to our list of karmasthanas. So there's a karmasthana, and this is actually a teaching of Supreme Buddha, which is in the Pali Canon. In one sutta, he explains about this world, comparing this world to an ocean. So we know that this world is a combination of eyes, images, ears, sounds, nose, smells, tongue and taste, skin and touch, mind and thoughts. So this is the world. Apart from this, we don't have any other thing that we can name as world, because we do not get inputs from these internal organs, don't have any perception about the world. So the perception, the idea that we are living and we are experiencing, we are feeling, all of that comes from this doorways, or we can say the 5 doors that ultimately opens up to the mind. So Supreme Buddha compares these organs to an ocean. So our eyes are an ocean. It's an ocean that cannot be filled with images. So our eyes, however much we try throughout our lifetime, we cannot fill it with images. So we have this insatiable craving to see. It was there from the beginning. It was there when we were small children. And no matter how old you are, your craving to watch things, to see images, has never gone away, has never reduced. In fact, it might have aggravated the need. Let's say we tried to fill this craving or fulfill this craving. If we have at least completed 10% of it, we only have 90 more to be completed. But in reality, can anybody say that they have completed at least 1% of their craving to watch, to see images? If that's the case, then on some day, you might be able to say that I have completed my craving to watch. So I don't need these two eyes anymore. I don't need any images. I don't feel like watching. And I only have 4 more organs to be fulfilled or to be treated. But the vexation of these 5 items or 6 organs never seem to go down. In fact, they increase because of our delusional ideas or avidya. Avidya gives a false value to these external items, external objects, images, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. So because of that, the craving increases. So you go after these items, looking for them. What you are looking for is the blissfulness or the value that you thought it, which is in it. But in reality, the value is a mirage. When you try to achieve it, just like in the mirage, you get that false hope that you are going towards it, that you are getting closer to achieving it. But what really happens is the mirage also moves away from you when you try to move towards the mirage. And there's no water in the mirage, just like there's no value in the external object. It's just the vexatious internal organ creating the false hope mixed with avidya, telling us, giving us false hopes. That's why you shift from one image to the other. If somebody likes paintings, you might want to buy a painting, a beautiful one, which is on sale, and you have that kind of a vijnana or a mindset, you would buy it. And you would want to hang it on your home or in your room. This is the value. If it is $100, $1,000, depending on the level of avidya you have, the level of value you have given to that object in your head, you think this price is reasonable. This painting is very valuable, beautiful. I don't mind paying this much of money to this piece. This is a masterpiece. So you'd spend that much of money. You would buy it and you would hang it on the wall. After a few days, and this happens immediately, but you would not notice it. You would notice it only after a few days, few months, maybe few years. Can you find that blissful sensation you felt when you just saw that painting on the side of a road or an exhibition or wherever the paintings are sold? You cannot feel it now. It's just a piece of cloth or a piece of paper hanging in a wall, on a wall. You don't feel that same enthusiasm. You don't feel that same blissfulness when you look at that masterpiece. It has gotten old. It is decaying. And anything can happen to it. It can break. It can catch fire. It can be stolen. Anything can happen. So you have to see the reality through the avidya. So when you see that, you realize you have bought something vexatious, not something blissful. It is an object that can create fear. It is an object that can create suffering. So your primary goal was to treat that insatiable craving to see, to watch things. But even after buying that masterpiece, your craving to watch things has never reduced. In fact, now you want to buy more paintings. Now you want to go and see more exhibitions, which is about paintings. So this is, when this is done with avidya, your aim is one thing, your wish is to get rid of vexation, but it has in fact increased. The vexation has increased. So that's why we say eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Here the craving is highlighted. By saying eyes are an ocean, we are referring to the craving which is associated with watching. It is the same for sounds and smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. Same story applies to every each and every component. But that is everything we have. Think about your lives. All your life, from the beginning until today, everybody has tried to quench or treat this insatiable vexation, craving, which is associated with watching, hearing, or watching, listening, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. You did everything. You learned, got a good education, you got reasonable jobs, you married, you had children, and you are doing your daily activities, daily cars, everything is done to fulfill these 6 organs. That is the primary goal. Each and every day, you try this and you fail. But the mindset created with avijja, will that mindset going to give up? No, that mindset won't give up, because that mindset has the idea, the value is, in fact, it is in the external organ, external item. So since this ideology is embedded in that mindset, nobody will be able to think otherwise, act otherwise, say otherwise. So they would just be puppets of avijja. That's what has happened to the whole world. Then what happens? Then all the sentient beings, especially since humans are closer to us, it is easier to understand these things in a point of from the point of a human. We can see how the human world has evolved to a materialistic world where everybody is trying to go after images, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. Thoughts comes later. Thought is always helped with the solid objects, which are images, sounds, smells, and taste and touches. So these are the 5 senses. So these 5 senses, so whatever we take from these 5 senses are the primary input that generates thoughts. So we are trying to, throughout this lifetime, with the development of science and technology, with the development of avijja in each and every individual of this world, yeah, we have created something which is very materialistic, and the journey never stops. Everybody is in a race to achieve bliss, through these external objects. So you earn, you're looking for raises, you're looking for promotions, you're looking for money, because money has become the gateway to achieving these items. If you have more money, you would be able to buy more valuable stuff, valuable images. Why do you give value? Because you think that it can give more pleasure, more bliss. More bliss equals more value. More value means you have to spend more money. When you have to spend more money, you have to have a good income. So you have to have, or you have to compete with everybody else on the same resources, because the resources are limited and the craving of humans are unlimited. It is insatiable. So with that insatiable craving, everybody is trying to achieve the same thing. So a competition is created. And this competition is not nice. It is full of, everybody is not going to play in fair in this competition. So people would cheat, they would kill and hurt, they would steal, they would have unethical relationships just to have this blissful sensation. They would lie, they would slander, they would use harsh words, they would have frivolous talk, they would be mischievous and greedy, they would be malicious and malevolent. They would have all sorts of wrong and distorted views to achieve their goals. So this would occur. These are the 10 unwholesome acts. And if you do them, you know, you don't have to talk about the afterlife. You don't have to talk about the hell and all the inferior places that are waiting for the people who are doing those things. Just think about what that individual would go through in this world if someone is doing those kinds of things. They would be punished by the government, by the law. They would be punished by the society. Everybody would look down on them. Everybody will will not say anything good about them. Of course, there's the afterlife as well, where you would be suffering in major ways. All because of some delusional ideology or avijja. So you have to work, you have to earn. And working is not a blissful thing. It is stressful, it is tiring. And reason is empty. It's a pointless, it's an empty or a dead end. There's no value that you have achieved. Even if you achieve, or even if you win this competition against everybody, and even if you achieve all the things you want, either the import a valuable item would end, death and decay is inevitable, or either your body and mind would end. Whichever would happen, and you would have to part with this. You would get separated from that blissful object. Until that, it would get decayed. It would start to rust. It would start to lose its shine. It would start to become old. It would start to reduce its performance. And in the end, it would stop working. And that kind of you're looking for an item with these qualities. So that's why it says this is an ocean that cannot be filled with the corresponding object, external object. So when you are meditating on this is the karma sthan. It's a very short karma sthan. It highlights one aspect of the world, why you should not go after these external objects, why it is full of sorrow and suffering. So even though it just shows one side, you can go deeper. You can dig in and try to improve your understanding. This is vipassana. When the vipassana is happening, or when you are thinking critically in a way, or thinking critically to develop your wisdom, you would be able to get rid of the cravings and attachments towards these worldly things. When the attachments are broken or weakened, since attachment is the reason for suffering, your life would start to become better. Mind you, we are not getting rid of physical objects. We are not getting rid of everything we have. We are getting rid of the attachment, because it is not the item that creates suffering. It is the attachment. So we might use these things because we are already in this world. We have an organ system that need to be taken care of because it's vexatious all the time. So to do that, we need external objects. We need images, sounds, smells, tastes, touches. So we'd use them with the perfect understanding that these are not valuable, important, blissful things, but these are needed to get rid of the problems I have in this world. So you would need a car, you need a sofa, you need a house, but you would be looking for the minimum to get rid of the discomfort. Because if you try to go beyond that level, then that might be because you have an attachment towards that item. Then that creates unnecessary suffering, especially mentally. And the mental suffering, of course, leads to physical suffering as well because you have to work, earn, and do certain things to maintain that external object, to, to get to treat that internal or to treat that mental suffering. So if we have mental suffering, that would lead to eventually lead to physical suffering as well. So what we are doing is we are trying to get this suffering to the minimum level which is possible. And that is done effectively by an Arihat who has the perfect understanding about the world, has completed the Arya pathway. When you have completed the Arya pathway, you know exactly what this world is. It is none other than a ball of vexation, ball of suffering, and a ball of jara marata. Other than that, there's nothing to latch on to, saying that these things are good, important, full of essence. These things are pointless, senseless, and should be used to get rid of pain and discomfort. So that would be the line. So they would be still using these external objects. We are talking about arihats. They would be using those. Why? Because to get rid of the internal pain and suffering in internal organs. So you would need a chair, you would need a bed to get rid of that pain and suffering. Pain and suffering associated with the body. Even if you don't get these things, they are not agitated, they are not confused, because they know the anicca nature of this world. Cannot control this world. It is according to our expectations. It is a process that occurs due to dependent origination. or Paticcasamuppada. So based on what you have created with avijja, whether it's punya abhisankara or meritorious deeds, whether it's apunya abhisankara or unwholesome deeds, depending on those, what you are receiving right now is decided. So what you are receiving, you are receiving a blissful sensation right now. That is because you have created that energy, karmic energy, in the past, in the sansaric journey, and that karmic energy is responsible for the blissful sensation. If it is a good karma, then that good karmic energy is responsible for what you are experiencing right now. If it is unwholesome, or if it is a bad experience, a negative experience, a suffering experience, the vice versa happens. So if it is about a negative karma that you have done in the past, and this karmic energy, just like the repel effect, when you put a stone to a pond, you can see waves forming, and these waves move away from the point of impact towards the margin of the pond. And at the margin of the pond, the wave would start to come back again towards the center. It would make a 180-degree shift. Just like that, when you change the nature, or when you disturb this energy flow of this universe, it would create a repel effect. Or it would create a wave, just like a boomerang. It would just come back to you again. Good would be coming back as good results. Bad deeds would give out bad results. Since the Arihat knows this, when he does not get what he expects, or let's say more than an expectation, when he does not get what is necessary to get rid of his pain and discomfort, he's neutral about it, because he knows how the world, how the universe works. Nobody can inflict mental pain on an Arihat. Just the physical pain is possible, because if you have a physical body, and someone can pinch your body, pinch you, and you would feel the pain, you would feel the discomfort. But if you don't have this raga, dosa, moha, or avijja, nobody will be able to create mental pain in you. So this is what you need to understand with this karma sthana. So when we are reciting this karma sthana, try to go in depth. Try to don't don't try to force it. Don't try to forcefully think, but do it very lightly as well. Because when you are trying to forcefully think about something, you would not get that relaxation that you are looking for. Just think freely. What actually is meant by this? Is it really the truth? How am I going to apply it to my life? Likewise, think in a very light manner, not heavily, not deeply. But if you do that, since you are thinking in the right direction, it would automatically start to go into detail and into depth. If that does not happen, don't get upset or don't try to force, because you have to know everything. If everything is anicca, cannot be controlled according to our expectation, this meditation also falls under that category. So wherever you attach, I'm going to meditate today, and I am going to do it right. I am going to meditate without my mind trying to go here and there. So I am going to calm my mind. I'm going to clench my teeth and try to tame my mind. To try that model, since you are attached to one side, you are attached to achieving that goal. That is the reason for suffering. You have created the cause of suffering. And when you try to do that, if that happens, you would be happy, and you would forget that you have already created the cause of suffering. And that is what created the blissfulness or the illusional blissfulness, and you are tricked by it. But if that does not happen, you could not achieve what you expected, then you would not be happy, because already the suffering is the result. So when we are trying to meditate, always have this in the back of the mind. You have to see whether you are getting attached to something, even if it is something in the meditation, inside the meditation process. Because getting rid of attachment itself is the meditation. This karma sthana just helps you to achieve that. But you get carried away sometimes. All of us get carried away. And we get attached to the process of meditation. And that itself creates a negative feedback loop, or it destroys the meditation process, and you would end up suffering. And the meditation won't happen properly. The relaxation and the peace come, and the blissfulness that comes with this nibbana or non-attachment does not occur. Instead, you would end up miserable and disappointed. that should not happen. If that is happening, you have to detect immediately. You have to find the cause and get rid of the cause. It's easy when you get used to it. You have to find the cause where you have attached. Why am I? Meditation is supposed to calm me down. Meditation is supposed to make my mind relax. Meditation is supposed to create the blissful mindset due to non-attachment. But instead, why am I feeling tense? Why am I feeling stiff? My mind is blocked and I am feeling a suffering sensation, uneasiness and discomfort. Why is that happening? So you are looking for the reason or the cause. You have found the cause. Now I am attached to this, I am attached to that. Just get rid of that attachment because there's nothing valuable to get attached. So whatever you got attached, you have to see it as anicca dukkha anatta. Anicca dukkha anatta means, in other words, you are seeing the valueless nature of that item. That itself would get rid of the attachment, which is the reason for suffering. And since the reason for the suffering is gone, you would be free of suffering and you would be in that calm, peaceful, blissful nature. And you should not get attached to that as well. Now this becomes fine. This becomes tricky when you go in depth, and the meditation becomes finer and finer. It becomes tricky. You should not get attached to that blissfulness as well, because if you get attached, since it is something you can feel, since it is an object, it's a thought, it's an object, it comes to the mind as a thought, you would not be able to control it according to the expectation. So when the causes are created, the effect will occur. When the causes are gone, the effect will also be gone. If you get attached to that, that would create an additional suffering. So you are not getting attached to that as well. You should try to be a ball of mercury on a smooth surface. So the ball of mercury, since the mercury particles are attracted to each other, they are not going to get attracted to the surface. Not like water. So water just tries to get attracted to the surface and it just spreads along the surface. It attached to the surface. It is not easy to get rid of these water molecules. Even if you wipe it out, some water molecules are going to stay with the surface. Just like raga, dosa, moha, just like avijja. But if you have become a ball of mercury, you are not getting attached to the surface, no matter what. But you are on the surface. But even if you are on the surface, you're not getting attached to the surface. You have to be somewhere. The ball of mercury has to be somewhere. Because of that, it is on the surface. Not getting attached to the surface underneath, even not to the surface underneath. Just like that, you should not get attached to the blissful nature as well. You should not get attached to anything. And that is the lowest level of, or that is the zero mental suffering. Reduction of suffering can be perceived as blissfulness, because it is actually, it is the blissfulness which we are seeking, which we are looking for. Reduction of suffering is blissful. In that context, that is the highest blissfulness that one can achieve. You have to think in a reverse manner. Otherwise, you would not be able to grasp this blissfulness. When you are able to do that with prajna, with wisdom, you would realize that this is the ultimate bliss. So with that, we'll go on with the meditation. So close your eyes, find a suitable place for meditation, preferably a quiet and peaceful environment where there's no much disturbance, and be in a posture that you prefer, which is very comfortable for you, and have your back spine erect, spine straight, because it helps. And if you prefer closing your eyes, you can either close your eyes or you can half close your eyes. And in that posture, calm your mind and body by taking few deep breaths with the intention of calming your mind and body. As always, we'll first try to focus on the gaseous nature. Just like the mercury ball, which we explained, gas or air is also an element that does not get attached to a surface. It consists of independent particles. Focus on the column of air that is moving up and down through the nasal passage. Air does not prefer inspiration or expiration. Because of that, There's no conflict. There's no collision. Moves freely up and down. If the mind starts wandering, don't try to control it. Just be aware of what it is doing, where it is getting attached. Your mind is wandering because more important thing has popped up. If something is more urgent, more important, your mind would start wandering in that direction. So to get rid of that, don't try to control it and try to focus on it. Just try to see the anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature of that popped up thought. So when you do that, value would reduce. When the value is gone, mind would not go after that object anymore. thus your mind would automatically come back to the meditation. If you have stiffened up your muscles, neck muscles, or jaws, or abdominal muscles, just make them relax. Just don't try to control them. Just let go. Let the body take over. Relax. Try to compare with the air. Try to compare your body with the air. What if you are made of air? What if you have a body made of gas? How light would that be? This body is becoming lighter and lighter, just like the Now our minds have become so relaxed, we feel light, just like air. So we are going to recite the great 9 qualities of Supreme. These are the qualities that we should achieve to complete our pathway. When someone tries to divide and see, we would see past the illusion of uniform nature. When something is seen as one, a value is added, value is seen automatically. But when we separate, or Bhagava is the quality of separation. So when we do that, it reduces the value. Araha is the result. The essence goes away, resulting Samma Sambuddho. Sang means raga, dosa, and moha. Ma means elimination. Elimination of raga, dosa, moha leading to Sangbhava Uddha, uprooting of the state of all the states of beings. So Bhava would cease to exist, leading to Vichya is the reality or the truth. Charana Sampanno, you would start to act in Vichya. Sugatho, that would lead to the blissfulness. Lokavidu, in that blissful mindset, you would be able to see the world as it is. Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati. Your mind would be tamed since you have seen everything. Since you have seen the reality, your mind is tamed, the mind is calm. Sattha Dev Manusana. You would go beyond the qualities of humans and devas. Leading to Buddho, leading to the end result, which is the Buddha, Bhagavad, that would lead to reality. These, these sounds, these 9 sounds, have infinite quality in them. So we cannot limit the quality to just few words, but have an idea and try to focus on the limitless quality. You'll be able to understand the quality more and more. Recite with me or listen to these sounds. Iti so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicchacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati iti so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicchacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati iti so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicchacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati iti so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicchacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati iti so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicchacharana sampanno, สุขโต โลกวิทู anuttaro ปุริสธัมมสารติ สัทธาเทวมนุสสานัง บุตโธ ภะคะวาติ อิติปิโส ภะคะวะ อะระหัง สัมมาสัมพุทโธ วิจจาจารณะสัมปันโน สุขโต โลกวิทู anuttaro ปุริสธัมมสารติ anuttaro ปุริสธัมมสารติ sattha-tiva-manussanam buddho bhagavati iti-piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicchacharana sampanno sugato ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විචාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විචාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විචාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විචාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විචාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විචාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති Sattha deva manusanang buddho bhagavati itipiso bhagavan areham amma sambuddho vicacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above, all the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the samsaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of samsara, may get freed from the fear of samsara, may get freed from the flames of samsara, may get freed from the burning samsara, may get freed from the sorrowful samsara, may get freed from the samsaric raga, may get freed from the bonds of samsara, may get freed from the ocean of samsara, may get freed from the desert of samsara, may get freed from the darkness of samsara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. All the sentient beings, including myself, may get free from the samsaric suffering, may get free from the disease of samsara, may get freed from the fear of samsara, may get freed from the flames of samsara, may get freed from the burning samsara, may get freed from the sorrowful samsara, may get freed from the samsaric grab, may get freed from the bonds of samsara, may get freed from the ocean of samsara, may get freed from the desert of samsara, may get freed from the darkness of samsara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above, all the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the samsaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of samsara, may get freed from the fearful samsara, may get freed from the flames of samsara, may get freed from the burning samsara, may get freed from the sorrowful samsara, may get freed from the samsaric raga, may get freed from the bonds of samsara, may get freed from the ocean of samsara, may get freed from the desert of samsara, may get freed from the darkness of samsara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Ears are an ocean that cannot be filled with sounds. Nose is an ocean that cannot be filled with smells. Tongue is an ocean that cannot be filled with taste. Skin is an ocean that cannot be filled with touches. Mind is an ocean that cannot be filled with thoughts. World is an ocean that cannot be filled with gratification. Eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Ears are an ocean that cannot be filled with sounds. Nose is an ocean that cannot be filled with smells. Tongue is an ocean that cannot be filled with taste. Skin is an ocean that cannot be filled with touches. Mind is an ocean that cannot be filled with thoughts. World is an ocean that cannot be filled with gratification. Eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Ears are an ocean that cannot be filled with sounds. Nose is an ocean that cannot be filled with smells. Tongue is an ocean that cannot be filled with taste. Skin is an ocean that cannot be filled with touches. Mind is an ocean that cannot be filled with thoughts. World is an ocean that cannot be filled with gratification. take few deep breaths, focusing on your mind and body with the intention of ending the meditation. Now slowly open your eyes. So, if you have any questions regarding today's discussion or about anything about meditation, it's time for questions.
Do you have any questions?
There's one in the chat. When I meditate, when I metta meditate, do I just have to put my mind to it? I keep coming up with intentions to send energy. No, there's no need to send anything. It's just like you getting angry. It's the opposite of getting angry. So when you get angry, your mind and your body act as a transmitter, transmitting all those energy throughout this universe. You don't have to think about it. You're not thinking and doing it. You're not focusing on spreading hate to all the sentient beings in the universe. But that happens. That happens automatically when you get angry. Totally opposite of that happens when you spread metta. You don't have to spread a special kind of energy, or you don't have to focus on spreading an energy, spreading metta. When you have that kind of pure mindset, what you have inside the mind would be transmitted. That happens automatically. You just have to have a genuine mindset that there's no other option than Nibbana for me and for all the sentient beings in the universe. That's a genuine thought, genuine conclusion that you have arrived after realizing after understanding the reality of the world. So the genuine wish is, may all the sentient beings and myself may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. There's no other option. All the sentient beings have become clueless due to avijja and kill each other, hurt each other, do various bad, unwholesome deeds, all because of blindness, blindness to reality. This is true for everyone else, including me as well. So may everyone understand this reality and attain the supremeness. That's a genuine thought if you focus on it, if you understand it. If that genuine thought is spreaded, if that genuine thought is thought, if that is what is in your mind, You don't have to specifically spread it. You are already doing it when you are thinking it. Just focus on how helpless this sansaric journey is, and how everyone would be benefited from attaining Nibbana. That much would do everything. I hope that's clear.
Hello, Saranai Swaminathan. Could I please ask something that helps with my day-to-day practice? Now, today you mentioned that, sensory organs, that we shouldn't get attached to them and try to fulfill the sensory attachments that comes with it. So with the body, the skin, the touch, sometimes when I want to wake up in the morning, I feel like I should stay a little bit more there. And then I try to stay there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then I wake up and then get up and do my work. And then I wanted to feel that I want to rest for some time after doing some things. Then again, I feel, am I getting attached to my sensual pleasures? And then I try to avoid it, thinking that I'm seeking the sensual pleasures. And then so carry on like that. And then when I sit for meditation or something, I'm really tired because trying to avoid this, resting even, because I feel it's attachment to my sensual pleasures. So is that correct, or do I need to do it in another way? So, how should I?
Now, if it is about bodily vexation, even an Arihat cannot get rid of that. He also sometimes rest. In if you have read about if you have read the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, in that Supreme Buddha also becomes very tired because he is 80 years old at the end of his life. Now he is leaving to Kusinara town, Kusinara, to for the passing away. At that point, because he was ill and he was old, he asked Anandathero to fold the robe into uh, fold the robe and put it on a rock or on the ground. I cannot remember which specifically. So he asked him to do that so that he can rest. And some instances he has asked Anandathero to do the sermon because he has to rest. So that is for a Supreme Buddha, not for a normal person. So even an Arihat, even a Supreme Buddha, all of us get this physical vexation that we cannot get rid of that. We cannot um, escape from that physical pain and suffering. So at that point, we have to rest. We have to take a break. We have to use the bed or the chair or whatever it is, whatever necessary. That is not that is not getting attached. That means that is not tanha. That that can be tanha. You have to separate the two. If somebody is just like staying in the bed all the time without going out, without doing anything else, he or she always remembers about the bed whenever he or she gets out of the room. If that is the case, then that can be tanha, that can be attachment. But whenever, if you remember, if the mind, if the washroom or the loo or the toilet comes to your mind when you have a full bladder, doesn't mean that you are attached to the washroom. That is because you have to get rid of that vexation, physical vexation. That is how the body and mind works. So you would be using that washroom, and you would not be wanting to stay in that washroom for any longer. As soon as your business is done, straight away you want to get out of that washroom, get out of that toilet, because that is not a place that you find dear, that you find attached. But you would be using that space all your life because it is necessary. So likewise, if you feel tired and you remember, and and the bed comes to your mind, I have to rest sometime, that does not mean that you are attached to that item or object. If you start remembering it over and over again without any vexation as well, just like a person who likes to sleep all the time, then that could be a problem. So you have to figure out which is which. I think the, according to the explanation, that would not be a problem. Having a small rest because your body needs it does not mean that you are attached.
Okay, that's well explained, Swaminahansa. Ping. Well understood. Thank you. Anybody got any questions? The practice of today's session? And ask, otherwise we can end the session. There's another one. Chat box. There's a chat box. There's a question, Swaminahansa. This is a very basic question. Is the method you showed us today one of the Vipassana meditation methods? Yes.
Actually, now about this, there are various methods when it comes to completing the magga or the pathway, Aryatanga magga. So, but that is for understanding, and that is to know what suits you best. But even if you don't have any, even if you have not heard any of these methods, still you would be able to complete your RA pathway. There's no specific patterns or specific pathways. It's just always gray. So as when one attains the Sotapanna state, we know that person does not need any more help from any other person to complete the pathway. If he gets more help, that would be easier, and it would make the journey quicker, but that is optional. The person would anyway complete the pathway. Think that the Sotapanna person died and he was born again as a Sotapanna individual by birth. So he does not know about anicca, I mean the word, does not know the word dukkha or anatta. He might be he might be born or reincarnated in let's say United States, so he only knows English, does not know Pali, does not know Sinhala or any other language that is used frequently by Buddhists. So, but he's a born Sotapanna, so he would know what is anicca. The feeling of anicca would be in him. So he would not get attached. He would know that these things are these things are pointless. End up in Jara Marana. He would have that ultimate understanding, and he would not get attached to things very much. He would get rid of these worldly attachments because it he feels like it. And he would tell others also, don't get attached to things like this. It creates suffering. See, when you get attached, it creates suffering. He does not know dukkha jnana. That means he understands dukkha jnana, but he does not know it by words. So with that understanding also, he would be able to complete the whole pathway without any guidance, because the guidance is inside him. Does not need any guidance from outside. But if he gets the guidance, that's even better. So just like that, anything you hear, maybe a song, maybe a poem, maybe something happens on the way to work, anything can be vipassana. Because if you have the basic understanding of anicca dukkha anatta, anything can be converted into a meditation karmasthana. So for example, once in Sri Lanka, this happened in maybe thousands of years ago. There were 60 disciples and an Arihat Thero who had these 60 disciples. The Arihat Thero was the teacher, and he had 60 disciples, and they were going for Pindapata. So they were going for food in the morning. So for dana. So when they were going near a paddy field, a lady who is working on the paddy field was singing a poem. And these monks were very, very, very full of effort and full of determination to complete their pathway, and was very, very disciplined. And they were just looking down on the road without looking here and there, and they were following the headmaster or the Arihatero. And the Arihatero stops all of a sudden and asks his disciples, all the 60 disciples, to listen to this poem sung by the ordinary lady who is working on the fields. Now, they were listening to the song, and at the end of the song, all 60 became Arihat. Because that song, even though that's a normal poem for the ordinary lady, for a person who has opened up the eyes of wisdom, that is something else. That has all the needed components to become an Arihat. That means it elaborates on anicca dukkha anatta when you see from that angle. So that is the scope when it comes to karmasthana. There's no limit. It's limitless. So this is also a karmasthana. What happens at your home when you get angry, and when the mind, or let's say when the mind starts when the mind starts brainstorming about anicca dukkha anatta, that's also a karmasthana. Everything becomes a karmasthana if it is in the area of anicca dukkha anatta, in the area of Buddha Dhamma. So there's no limitations. So there's only this much of karmasthana, and you cannot have any more. There's nothing like that. You can have infinite number of karmasthana. It depends on the person's experience, person's thinking pattern, how you would be doing, how you would be thinking in with regard to anicca dukkha anatta. So that is so answering this question. So this method is also a vipassana meditation. So what is vipassana? Actually, vipassana is getting rid of raga, dvesa, moha, because raga kyo nibbana, dvesa kyo nibbana, moha kyo nibbana. Whatever you do to get rid of raga, dosa, moha, that is vipassana. So the basic thing, the basics of vipassana starts with anicca dukkha anatta, because without that You would not be able to focus on um, the reality, or the getting rid of the value. So value is reduced only if you can see uh, through anicca dukkha anatta, because what gives value to the world is nicca sukha atta. So you have to think in the opposite direction. I hope that's clear. Or if you have any more following questions, you are most welcome to put that onto the chat. Yes, you can do that, but try to have a free mind. Just don't have a template. Yes, there are various templates. You can learn about these templates. When you learn about these templates, they would just come automatically to you at the correct moment. If you try to just hold on to one template, you are trying to what do we say? You are trying to limit your ability to think limitlessly. So you have this ability to think limitlessly in the area of anicca dukkha anatta. But if you put a template, or it's like just putting sunglasses on, so you would be seeing everything darker. This is a vivid world. You can just use your eyes to see, but you, instead of that, you decide to put on green glasses or black glasses or blue glasses. Now you are seeing everything as blue. So it is better to learn about everything: green glass, blue glass, red glass, everything, so you know what to put where. So it is better to don't stick on to just one method. Learn these methods and try to apply it to your life, apply it to your daily activities. And a unique method would come from yourself, a combination of maybe 3 or 4. So that would help you more than just sticking on to one method. You can do that. I'm not telling you not to experiment. Do this tomorrow and experiment, and it would help. Day after tomorrow, you do something else. So do experiment. Do try to stick on to one thing and uh, go through the day and see whether it works for you. If it works, do it on the next day as well. But when you feel like this method is better than that, feel free to change. Just don't get stick onto one method.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, then we can end the session.
Okay. So we'll end up with the Anumodana.
Yes, sir. Swamin Wahanse, there is a little part to that question again. I asked a question to you because I felt it was a waste of time with illusions, moha, raga, and dvesha.
Yes, I think it's a statement, not a question. Yes. I understand.
Yeah.
So we'll end the session with the Anumodana then. So today we discussed about a karmasthana and tried to learn the meaning of that karmasthana, and we recited that karmasthana along with other Buddhanusati and Mettanusati. And all this time we have been reflecting on the reality of the world. So the meritorious power which we have gained through this act is immeasurable, because emanation of a ministry of Buddha or a Buddha Sasana is a very rare thing. And in that very rare Buddha Sasana, we have been fortunate to encounter the pure Dhamma and to understand that pure Dhamma, eliminating avijja, gradually ending this samsaric journey. So the kaya kamma, vachi kamma, and mano kamma, or the actions, words, and thoughts which we have generated throughout this session, generates very powerful, measurable, meritorious power. With that meritorious power, may everyone get the perfect background to understand the Supreme Dhamma, eliminating all the barriers, obstacles that cover up the Nibbana pathway, understanding the reality of the world, creating the perfect background, which is life, refreshness, comfort, power, and wisdom. With those 5 elements, everyone be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana with comfort and peace. Accept this blessing with sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And we will be transferring all the meritorious power which we have gathered throughout this session to all the deceased relations throughout this samsaric journey, especially our friends and parents and relatives, and all the teachers that we had throughout this samsaric journey, and also the ones who were hurted and harmed by us, and the ones who helped us to have this session, the ones who are behind the scene, the ones who are paying, and ones who are maintaining these institutions and devices and everything, and also the ones that might have joined that we cannot see, that who are in the realms of deities and Brahmas, and all the sentient beings in the universe as well. Let us remind everybody and transfer this meritorious power to them, regardless of wherever they are in this universe. If they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sinful acts. May they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives, ultimately understanding the reality of the world, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. With that thought in mind, transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
So we'll be ending this session with a Pali blessing. Abhivadana silis nichang vadda pichayino chattaru dhamma vatanti ayuvanno sukham balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate samichyatu. May everyone gain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We appreciate you coming to teach us and conduct this session for us. So to appreciate and show our gratitude, we would like to chant a verse to show our gratitude. Silavantang, Gunavantang, Punyakitang, Anuttarang, Dullabene maya laddang vanditum pasitum varang Saripuddhadi teranang agatam patipadiya Saddha sila daya vasang buddha puttan namamaha Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So,
Thank you, everyone. Hope you had a good session and see you soon in the next session. Teruvan Saranai.
everyone, Sarna, everyone.
Teruvan.
Everyone saranai.